Hello, welcome back. And of course, if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tracy, and in this video, we are going to dive into what astral projection is, as well as out-of-body experiences. So stay tuned to learn more. To begin this video, I just want to kind of refresh everybody on the idea of awareness. So your awareness is what you observe the physical world with through your the physical senses, like, the hearing, seeing, taste, touch, smell, and all of that. Your mental perception is known as your sixth sense, and that is when your awareness is it is when your awareness is involved in things beyond the actual just physical senses in another dimension, kind of within the mind. So anyway, if you remember in my video on the video called What is 5D New Earth and the Event. In that video, I introduced you guys to the mind triangle. So now I want to remind you of the mind triangle. I'll go ahead and show it to you again here in this video. There are 3 levels of mind: the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. Your awareness is in the conscious mind during your waking state. When you're asleep and dreaming, your awareness is then in your subconscious mind. During meditation and other spiritual type of experiences, your awareness could be in superconscious mind. So those are the 3 main levels of the inner mind. Then you can separate the subconscious mind into 4 sub-levels, and the superconscious mind could be separated into 2 sub-levels. Now, these sub-levels are just kind of like different dimensions. So as your awareness enters these different states of mind, you can experience the world in different ways. And the deeper you go with your skill of moving into these inner levels of mind, the more you develop the skill of moving inward, the more you can experience in those different dimensions, because you can connect with your inner levels more deeply with more practice. So there are many people who have reported having out-of-body experiences, which are involuntary, because it's like your awareness has left your physical body and entered into inner levels of mind where you experience a different dimension. It's like a different space and time, similar to when you are asleep, your awareness goes into subconscious mind where you experience your dreams. So that's why you can still feel as though you're really in the dream. It's because you really are in the dream. That is because your awareness is existing. It's just existing in a different level of mind, otherwise known as maybe a different dimension. So anyway, if you are interested in hearing people's stories about out-of-body experience, just go ahead and look it up and research it, because there are so many people, like I said, out there who have reported having those experiences, either like maybe at the end of life type of thing, or if there was a bad accident, things like that. So those are the involuntary experiences, kind of similar to dreaming, because when you're asleep, it's involuntary that you are then your awareness enters into subconscious mind. So out-of-body experience can kind of be categorized in that category. Astral projection, on the other hand, is an intentional out of body experience. So if you are experiencing astral projection or astral travel, that means that you have willingly taken your attention and brought it inward to different levels of mind, which can also be known as different dimensions. And so, since you're existing in that dimension, you can actually move around within the laws of that dimension rather than the laws of the 3D or the third dimension here in the physical world. Um, so, anyway, astral projection and astral travel is actually possible because you're using your awareness to do the traveling. So, after much practice, you can actually learn how to consciously leave your physical body and to travel about in your um, basically having your awareness in a different level of mind, which is a different body. I kind of like to call it my light body because of how I experience it myself. So, I also have a story for you guys, real quick, about how I learned at the School of Metaphysics how to do astral projection. And I do want to just kind of give a little disclaimer that this is in the second level of lessons at the School of Metaphysics. And it took me over a year of like concentration, practice, meditation, visualization, and all those other mind skills that I built up in the first series of lessons. That took me over a year of practice in order to then graduate to the second series of lessons, where I now am moving even deeper into mind and learning how to do things like astral projection. So I do highly recommend you guys actually developing mind skills as soon as possible. So get to meditating or visualizing, even if all you do each day is just to take like only a couple minutes, close your eyes, take some deep cleansing breaths, and image a light shining brightly in your solar plexus, which is an inch or two above your belly button. Now, when you see this light with your mind, cause this light to grow and expand, filling your body with light, and then continue to let the light expand out into your aura so that then your body and aura are full of light. And then you simply bring your attention back to your body by bringing your awareness to the soles of your feet, and then travel all the way up to the crown of your head. And when you're fully centered, inhale deeply and slowly open your eyes. You saw how quick that was for me to use my visualization, expand my light out into my aura, and then bring myself back by grounding myself with a deep breath. I've had some out of body experience type dreams that were so realistic, such as flying dreams, where I was flying through my actual neighborhood, going wherever I wanted at will, and I was having a lot of fun flying around. And as soon as I thought to myself it was time to go home, it was like I quickly rewound and went straight back to my body. And my awareness was there again, and I woke up. So that was that was way back when I was in high school. So this was years ago. And then later on, about 10 years ago, while I was a student at the School of Metaphysics, I learned things. Like I said before, I developed skills in meditation, concentration, visualization, dream interpretation, and all of these things. I actually took the time and disciplined myself with daily practice and just developed myself. So then I was able to practice astral projection. So by the time I got to the lesson on astral projection, it was like I had been quite disciplined as a student, and I was already teaching new students myself as well. Anyway, at the time, my spiritual teacher really stressed how important it was to actually do this 2-week exercise each and every day. And if I skipped even one day, I would have to start the whole 2 weeks over and basically be stuck in this lesson until I was able to complete 2 weeks of doing the exercise that I'm about to describe to you guys. So anyway, it was clear in my mind that I really wanted to just get this done in the first 2 weeks, first try. I do not want to have to repeat this exercise because to do this astral projection exercise, you actually need to set up different stations throughout your house, and you also cannot be bothered at all whatsoever. So, of course, as a mother and wife, I was like, how am I going to clear my house out each and every day for 2 weeks to get this exercise done? So anyway, it was really kind of a pain, but it just shows my dedication. We figured it out. My husband would occupy the children's time, and everything worked out perfectly, and I was able to do it within the 2 weeks that I wanted to. But anyway, this was like very important to me. I did not want to miss a day. So I just want to stress that it's a hard practice. So even if you don't want to practice, you should practice. And that goes for anything like meditation and prayer and stuff like that, because if you don't want to do it, you're going to get more benefit, and the benefit that you're actually practicing it for, you're going to get more of that if you do it while you're having the resistance that's trying to keep you from doing it. So anyway, I actually had to also make a map. So this is actually round 2. There were 2 different stages of this exercise, and I couldn't find the map for round 1. But anyway, here's the map that I made for round 2 of the exercise when I was leaving my actual physical body. So as you could see on the map, there were 7 stations in this exercise. So round 1 of the exercise, I would go to each station with my physical body, of course. And so with my awareness in my physical body. Now, each station was not only like a physical place to go within my house, but each station was also assigned a color for me to look at. So it was on a card, like a color on a card. So I was to look at a color and smell a smell and maybe feel something or hear something. So you're supposed to just kind of engross some of your senses at each and every station. So I would like hang the card with the color on it, and I would hang like a Q-tip or cotton ball with vinegar, pickle juice, and like different kinds of smells on it so I could get smells. Anyway, and so each station had some kind of sense indulgence. And then also, you were to like I had mentioned before, be alone in the house, no distractions whatsoever, so that you can concentrate fully on the task at hand. You're even to count your steps between each station so that you know exactly how to get to each station each and every time. So I was to do this exercise every single day for 2 weeks straight, and listen to how much time goes into each one. You are to stop at every single station for 7 minutes, and there are 7 stations. And then that goes up gradually throughout the 2 weeks until you are at each station for 14 minutes. So this becomes a long and drawn out process as the practice grows more and more towards the end. So I practiced that, and of course, like I had explained, it was difficult to get it all, to find a way to make it all work for the whole 2 weeks, but I made it work and I made it happen. I went through my house and everything. Now, the first round was actually when we used to live in a different house, and then we ended up selling that house and moving into the house that we are in now. And that is round two's map, the one that I had already showed you. Because like I said, I could not find my round one map. I must have lost it in the move or something. But anyway, so then round two came along, and this is when I was to do a map of my home again. And like I had said in my little video, that you want to like put a lot of attention into your map so that you know each and every step that you are going to take. And again, it was to be 7 stations. Again, it was to be 2 weeks. Again, it was to be where the time at each station would increase until the end of the 2 weeks. Now the difference is that as I would get up from station 1, which my home base is right here on my bed in the master bedroom, as you can see, and station 1 is right by the door. So the difference between round 1 and round 2 is that I would be sitting here at my base to begin this exercise, and my physical body now would be staying here on the base as my awareness would get up from my body and then go to station 1 and begin this exercise for the amount of time I was to stay at each station. Now this 2 weeks really actually got very, very interesting. In round 2, at the very beginning, I was leaving my body, but I could kind of like tell that it was more my own visualization that was taking me from the first station and throughout each of the stations. But then as the time went on in the 2 weeks, as I continued to practice and continued to practice day in and day out, it began to change. So by like only a couple of days in, I was now like my awareness was in a light body, but it was very dense and heavy to me. So as I walked from station to station, it was almost as though my feet were heavy and it was kind of hard to walk. But I could tell I was almost very bright and glowing, like I was in a light body, is how I want to describe it. So then I went like that for a couple of days until one day I was no longer a body like that who had to walk. So one day when I sat down to do the exercise, when I had left my body, it just felt completely different. And I knew that it was like my awareness actually leaving my body fully. Obviously still attached by the silver cord, which is said to be attached as you leave your body. So anytime your soul leaves your body during dream time or during any kind of astral projection or out-of-body experience, your soul is always tethered to your body by a silver cord. That's what it's called. So you can look that up to learn a little more about that. But it's basically an energetic tie between your awareness as a soul and your awareness in your body. So anyway, I literally felt myself leave my body. And I didn't really recognize what I was because it felt really actually very easy. And it felt very simple to move along and very smooth. So anyway, I went from one station to the next. And in station number 2, I had something to feel in there. So as I went to feel it, for the first time I realized that as I reached up, my hand wasn't a hand. My hand was actually an extension of energy and of light that kind of went out, but I was still able to feel it as though I had a physical body receiving it with the sense of touch. So I was able to feel with this extension of light coming off of me. And at that moment, I realized, without knowing how, that I was a ball of light. So I realized that I was a ball of light moving from room to room. So I didn't know how this experience was going to go, but when I got to the seventh station, which is here in the sunroom, this very room that I'm sitting in right now. So the 7th one is in the sunroom. And as soon as that was over, and as soon as I had the thought, I want to return to my body, my awareness literally rewound and went back through each and every station that I had been on until I reached my body again. And then I was snapped right back into it. So I didn't really know how that was going to work, but it was kind of cool because it was similar to years before when I would have the flying dream. And as soon as I would have the thought that I want to go home, it's almost like I would just rewind back through where I've been and then arrive back in my body. So anyway, my experience for that 2 weeks got really cool because then I realized how to turn myself into a literal ball of my own awareness and be able to move around and have actual sensory experiences such as touch and smell and eyesight. Like I can see things around in the room. So anyway, if this is something that you might be interested in practicing yourself, you can also do this. Maybe have someone set something up in the room each time so you can kind of examine as you think that you are, you know, in your deeper levels of awareness and beginning to astral travel. You can then examine the room in that state and then come back to your body awareness and examine the room again in that state and see if you realize the thing that was different in the room. So that's just kind of another way that you could practice this at home if that's something you're interested in. But just make sure that you're not going to be disturbed in the middle of your practices because it's sometimes when I'm snapped back to my body unexpectedly, which has happened many times before with kids and stuff, it actually gives me a headache and it's just uncomfortable. So you don't want that. All right, you guys, you're up. So if you have any experiences with astral projection or astral travel, or even if you have any experience with out of body experiences that are more like a accidental, then please feel free to share them in the comments down below. I think it'd be fun for you guys to kind of discuss each other's experience, and I really think that this is so interesting. So I'd like to hear everything that you guys have to say or think about it. So thank you so much for spending your time with me. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit subscribe. And that way you can click the bell and be notified anytime I make new videos. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye.